Hello, and we are back for episodes 3 and 4 of season 5, Stranger Things.
Season 5, part 1.
This is why I hesitated. I get very confused, but also it's just a lot to think about, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So, yeah, we are waiting season 5, part 2 that comes out on Boxing Day.
Waiting for season 5, part 2. Is that what you were meant to say?
What did I say?
You just said waiting season 5, part 2.
I'm glad we got that recorded, because I'm not convinced that's the case, but okay. You heard it, so you know better than me.
There's just too many numbers, Mark. There's just too many numbers.
You do have like a blind spot for numbers anyway.
I have, yeah. Yes. I think I've got dyscalculia. But anyway, and another thing to be diagnosed with. We were going to do separate episodes for each of, we were going to do separate podcast episodes for each of the Stranger Things episodes.
Yes.
But time has flown on and we just thought we'll never get round to recording again if we have to do that. So we've watched both episode 3 and episode 4 of season 5, and we are going to try and remember what has happened in both of those now.
Yeah, there was a real danger that we were going to get spoiled, because spoilers were out there, and we waited a little bit longer than most people to watch them, and so we just ploughed on and thought we can combine our thoughts into one episode.
And just before the new episodes come out.
Absolutely.
God, sorry. You know what? Every time we are talking about this, I just want to go like that down the microphone, which everyone's going to love.
Are you not enjoying these episodes?
No, I am. I'm really liking it when we're watching them. I feel like I then forget what has happened because they're so long, and it feels like a slog. It feels like a slog. But in saying that, it does. When I'm watching them, I really enjoy it. But then I instantly forget what has happened.
Okay, I mean, I've got some opinions on them. My opinion, I'll put this out there now. I think these are two of the strongest episodes of Stranger Things I've ever done.
Okay.
For the action, for the group dynamic, for shit happening and stuff like that. I have absolutely zero interest in the Stranger Things lore that they are trying to put through this. And I switch off whenever we go into, this is what happened in Hawkins and the lab and everything like that. I just like to see these kids bouncing off each other and getting into action. Some of the action sequences in this, certainly in the final episode, episode 4, some of the best things that have ever been put on Stranger Things for me. Certainly one of the biggest finale action set pieces, but there's a lot of lore in there that I just don't care about.
My issue is not with watching the episodes, being excited about seeing the characters again. I like the lore. I like all the stuff that's going on around, Hawkins and the lab and that sort of thing. I just think it's just too much. It feels like these should be films, they're film length, and there's so much going on. In between episodes, I'm losing the desire to come back. That is my sort of like my big picture thing, and that's why I'm really struggling. I'm happy to say it, I'm really struggling recording this episode now, because all I'm thinking about is it just feels like a slog. It feels like there's so much to go through in terms of the plot. We can't go through everything, but it just feels like there's so much in my head and so much blockage there that I am finding it hard to get the enthusiasm to run through what has happened.
And that's part of the problem of doing a podcast, in that you can't just let it wash over you and be happy with it. You need to actually have opinions on this stuff.
Yeah.
And, we found this before where we've been, something like Severance, where we were really negative on it. We really enjoyed it, but we felt the need to, when you talk about it, it highlights the things that you didn't necessarily like, which if you'd just been watching it episode to episode, probably would just have washed over you.
I know you felt like that with Severance, because you talked about that quite openly on that podcast when we were doing that. I haven't felt that way before, and I was thinking about that the other day when I remembered you talking about that on the podcast and thinking, I think I'm having the same thing with Stranger Things, because you've had to really persuade me to come and record tonight as well.
Yes.
as well. And I've been trying to sort of unpick why that is. I think it's because of the long episodes. I think it's the way that they've been constructed and structured. I think it's the fact that I know I've got to come back on Boxing Day and that a number of episodes will suddenly land.
3 on Boxing Day.
3 on Boxing Day.
And if you thought these were those last ones were long,
I mean,
I've just looked up the length of these next 3.
And also, I'm getting spoiled. You know, I said that on the last episode that we recorded that I was really worried about getting spoiled, and that was why we were we were at the time going to do these sort of single episodes. But I did get spoiled. You know, I major things I saw, and not from people who I thought would have any interest in Stranger Things, but they were using what would you call them? Sort of memes. So the Stranger Things memes have cropped up, and they're using that for non-Stranger Things related experiences. So then someone's talking about, like, you know, body positivity, and they're using a meme of someone doing something that I was like, oh right, okay, well that's given that away, right? Brilliant. So yeah, I am struggling for the first time ever. I am struggling with the concept of taking apart the episodes, which after like nearly 6 years of doing this, I find really, really interesting that it's come here.
Yes.
All that being said, let's have a chat about episodes 3 and 4.
Okay.
Can you remember what happens in episode 3? I think it's called the Turnbow Trap.
The Turnbow Trap, yeah. So what we have is a set piece of a poisoning of a family to kidnap them by kids. I've got some issues with the setup to this by the fact that we have a set piece where everyone stood around and they're trying to work out how they can get the Demogorgons away from the city and away from Derek, who is a new character, who I love, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. And I love him in the fact that he's an annoying little kid and he plays it perfectly.
Yeah, he's very good.
And then I think it's Mike says, oh, I've got an idea. And then pulls out the most elaborate plan that I don't believe anyone would ever come up with on the fly. Like, I know that this is picking holes in, like, the plot point and having kids talking about this stuff, but yeah, if we poison them and then, yeah. I mean, it was nice to see Erica back in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a highlight of season 3, I think she was introduced. And then in my mind, she probably had a bit of a less role in season 4, but yeah, and she's not been in any episode up until episode 3.
And with this being the final series, they're obviously bringing bringing people back in to storylines. So yeah, it's nice to see her.
One thing, moving on from that side, one thing I need to ask you is, am I meant to care what this wall is?
I think you are. I think this wall is like a major thing, isn't it? And how big it is and where does it go and what's behind it. Whereas I think it's just really obvious, isn't it? Like, it's Vecna's created some sort of wall. I can't think of another word for it. But yeah, he's created
a barrier.
Yeah, thank you. A barrier between him and the others, and he's keeping the kids in there, sort of alien style.
Well, I just thought it matched the barrier around Hawkins, like that the military have put.
Yeah,
and I didn't think any more of it,
right?
Until people kept on saying on the show, "Oh, this wall," and talking about it. And this feels like it's going to be more of a plot point.
And you can't get through it. Yes. And how are you going to get through it? But yeah. It was quite heavily trailed in the trailers, the wall. Okay. So yeah, I kind of knew it was already coming, but I'm not necessarily interested in it because I think it's a bit obvious.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I loved Derek. I love that, that family thing where they poisoned the family. Erica going into the house and being the sort of like the not double agent, that wouldn't work. Being an undercover agent.
Yes.
And I really liked when the Demogorgon arrived and all of their sort of Home Alone style stuff happened. That was great.
And then the final plot thread that I can think of from that is we have Holly spending time with Vecna in his house, walking around, putting on a Boy Scout uniform.
Yeah.
And then a Red Riding Hood cloak, which...
That wasn't red.
And then ended up meeting Max.
Yeah. I was surprised to see Max. I wasn't spoiled by that. I
mean,
I knew she would come back into it at some point.
In hindsight, it was obvious. But yeah, I was shocked by this. Can I make a mention about something that's bugging me about Holly? And
Okay.
I don't know whether it's they're using a camera filter or something like that, but when she's on screen, I get a really, really bad uncanny valley.
Okay.
And I can't understand, because it's obviously not the actress, it's just a
just a kid,
14-year-old girl. But I don't know if they're using something on the... But yeah, she does not feel like a real human being to me.
I didn't get that with her, but I did get that with Max when Max appeared. And we said that at the time, didn't we, when we were like looking at the reveal of Max, and I said her face just doesn't look right. It looks like they've done something to her.
I think the same with Holly,
Right.
and I've thought this all season, but didn't want to be seen as criticising a 14-year-old girl actress.
Oh, I didn't get that at all, but the Max I certainly did.
Okay, that's
So
yeah.
maybe they're doing it subtly. Well, not subtly for you, but subtly for me.
And the more I look at her, and now everything seems, and I think we've just been so bumped full of AI content recently. There's something that they're doing to the camera when she's on screen that looks AI to me, and I can't quite understand it.
I wonder if it's because she's in like the Upside Down, in this fake version of the Upside Down. That's what you're seeing.
It could be.
Now.
I mean, she's been in films. She's a real actress.
Yeah,
She's not been created. Because when I have thought at certain points, like, I'm not convinced that she's not going to turn out to be a fake. You know, like how they did with remember Star Trek Discovery, and they did a thing where they invented an actor to hide the fact that one of the actors was playing a Klingon at the same time.
I don't remember that, but yeah, it makes sense to me.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
You
I
thought
thought
she
that
might be...
No, I mean, she's a real person. She's been in loads of films and stuff like that. So, yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it certainly has an uncanny valley element to it. But then if you felt it with Max, then that might explain it. So, yeah.
And I think, I mean, moving on to episode 4, but I think some of the scenes with Max later on, it does look like they've tried to de-age her.
Yes.
In some of it felt like they were de-aging her in some of those scenes. So maybe there's some trickery going on there.
It is incredibly CG.
It is
purposefully so, obviously, because you're not going to get a natural. You're not going to create the Upside Down just on Magic Hour and working through it. But yeah, part of it did feel like people running around a computer game, which I have issues. It takes me out the film and the TV show sometimes.
I agree, though, that episode 3 was a strong episode. I came out of it thinking, oh, that's that we're starting to really move forward, because I wasn't. It wasn't like I hated episodes 1 and 2. I just wasn't. Maybe I just wasn't feeling that there was any propulsion. Whereas with episode 3, we had, all right, okay, we're getting to know Vecna's taking these kids.
Yeah,
he's going after Derek. They're going to try and protect Derek and his family. The Will stuff is coming to a head. We're moving forward. And a lot of the scenes that I saw in the trailer, I saw in episode 3. So I felt like there was more for me to... You know, sometimes you've seen trailers too much and you kind of like, oh, well, what else is there?
Yes.
And I've seen those scenes now, so I know there's plenty more to come, which was helping me with it. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I came out of episode 3 and I was happy.
Okay. And then episode 4, which is at current speaking the highest rated episode of Stranger Things on IMDb.
Oh, of all time?
Yes.
Oh, that's really interesting, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a recency bias, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. But you'd think that the majority of episodes were rated at the time that they were first released anyway, so it does get somewhat beyond that, I would think. But yeah.
Did we watch... See, this is how much I've forgotten. Did we watch that episode in 2 parts, or did we say we were going to watch it in 2 parts and then we carried on watching it? Remind me.
I think we said we were going to do it in 2 parts, but we just carried on.
I think we did, and I'm glad you said that, because I remember thinking, oh, this is a really, really good episode, and we just need to keep going with it.
There is an issue with me with this episode.
Okay.
And it is bringing the story back to that episode from season 2 that everyone hated.
Oh, the person who's in the lab, like
Kaylee,
the girl in the lab,
yes.
8.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was so surprised that no one else was talking about this. Like, you know, when they said, oh, Vecna's in the lab, they've caught Vecna. I'm like, no, they haven't. He's wandering around with Holly in his pretend house. I knew it was her. Straight, like, I almost turned to you and said, well, it's obvious who it is.
Was she? She was referenced in an earlier episode as well, though, I believe.
Oh, was she? I didn't know that.
Or maybe not. Maybe I'm.
Maybe
I can remember seeing a flashback, but maybe it's when they find Kaylee.
Yes, they flashback her to remind everyone. But yeah, it just seemed so obvious to me that that's who it would be, because you needed someone who had like the same level of power as 11. And I was like, well,
Everyone's forgotten about that episode. It was literally 8 years ago. And it's a character that's appeared on screen for one episode.
You
and
know
then
why?
disappeared.
It was because it was an episode that everyone hated. And I think they're doing it on purpose. I think they're bringing it back as an on purpose. Like, it got like the worst. I think if you look up on IMDb, that might be one of the worst episodes.
Oh, it will be. It's Stranger Things.
Because they just didn't like it. It was very X-Men. And it felt not like Stranger Things.
It was stopping the plot to go through a different situation.
I think it's interesting for them to bring about it, and it's them saying, you know, look, this is our show, this is what we want, this is our character, and it makes sense. It makes sense that they would go after other children who are like 11 and capture them and utilize them in the way that they want to do the same thing to 11. So it just seemed really, really obvious to me. And when everyone else was going, oh my god, it's not Vecna, I'm like, I was never Vecna. But yeah, that's just me being annoying.
Okay. I need to talk about the character of Will, because I feel that there is a gap there between his characterization. I don't think it's acting, but I think there is things about the character of Will which takes me out of the show every single time he's on screen.
And what is it? What takes you out of it?
I mean, it has to be an acting thing. Well, I don't want to be mean to a young actor. I feel he doesn't fit in with the show anymore, and I honestly thought they were going to kill him off because I feel that's the right thing for the show. I mean, in a big action set piece at the end, it is amazing that they still haven't found a way to kill any of these characters off on a big finale. I thought it was going to be Steve because I feel Steve would give a big emotional emotional reaction. Yeah,
I thought it was going to be Hopper. I'm waiting for Hopper to die.
I thought he
serves no purpose in this anymore. But any of that, I think it would be good for the show if they did, you know, reduce the number of characters.
Yeah, I mean, I also thought it might be Dustin because he's at least been involved in the plot,
and he's been sad this series. But yeah, there's too many characters. I mean, it's a brilliant episode. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant episode. I watched the behind the scenes episode as well on Netflix as well, where they explained how they did it, the big Demogorgon scenes at the end. You know, the Vecna coming in. They spent a year creating that. It's clearly technically brilliant. There were just elements of the show now that I just have no interest in. I really do not care about Nancy and Jonathan. I quite like the love triangle, but it hasn't really gone anywhere. I cannot get behind any excitement of Jonathan trying to like get Nancy to marry him. I'm just not bothered whatsoever. I think they would have split up years ago. I do wonder if the fact that they are together in real life is having some sort of nudge here, because I just don't think Nancy would be with Jonathan anymore. They just don't seem to have anything in common or any sort of chemistry whatsoever. And I'm not saying that she has to get with Steve. I mean, she doesn't have to be with anyone. She could just be her own person. But what are they doing in this? I mean, I know her sister's gone missing, but there's just too many people and too many things going on. 11 and Hopper in the Upside Down. I keep forgetting they're even there. I don't know what Joyce is doing. One thing that I would like to talk about is this idea that we've touched on before in the earlier episodes of the Stranger Things, the show, the theatre show, having an impact on the TV show. I felt that most strongly in episode 4. And
Okay.
the other podcasts that I've been listening to about Stranger Things and about this season have been talking like, for example, the Cinemile, they were talking about how in the flashback episodes with Max, and obviously we've got a lot of those, but there's one flashback where Max goes into Vecna's memories, and it's a high school scene, and there's a performance on, and there's Hopper's name on the flyer that's handed out. All of that is in the stage show. So I am really conflicted about the fact that I have all of this knowledge around those elements, and that they were almost teasing that prequel from the stage show. And I don't know if they're going to come back and show it again. But equally, the person who they've got playing young Joyce in the flashback, she's not my young Joyce because I've seen the stage show. So I was feeling really undone by it. I was like, because this isn't what I've seen. These are not the characters that I've seen as young Hopper, young Joyce, those sorts of things. And I have all this knowledge about Henry Creel and his family and everything that happened in the lab, and I've got all of that going on in my brain because I've seen the stage show. So when I was listening to Kathy and Dave talking about it, I wanted to obviously I can't, but I wanted to ring them up, like on the landline, like 90s style, and go, oh, you need to see the stage show because the stage show will give you so much more information about this season. But as you have spoken to me about, it shouldn't be the case that I'm getting more out of this because I've got that knowledge.
No, what I would say is I think it's been quite well judged then if you feel that you're getting more from it by having seen it, but I absolutely do not feel I am missing anything out. It feels like it's
right?
No, of course not, because it's just a little flashback and it doesn't. At no point do I think, oh God, I really want to see them at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance that they're putting on, or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's just it feels like it's a perfectly weighted nod to this stage show, if that is what you're getting.
That's what I'm getting at.
But I am absolutely nowhere thinking there's no nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You know what that is,
right?
And we have seen things. TV shows where there is a spin-off TV show and the camera lingers a little bit too long on something, and you think I should know what that is, and it annoys me that I don't know what that is.
Okay.
We'll
see how it transpires throughout the rest of the episodes, because I'm slightly worried about it.
Okay, I mean, I aren't. I aren't. Sorry, that is a Hull thing. That I aren't is an absolute Hullism.
Really?
That's an East Yorkshire thing. I aren't.
I am not.
No. It's what we say in Hull.
Lovely.
And East Yorkshire, just like Charlie Heaton.
Oh, is Charlie Heaton from...
He grew up in Bridlington.
Oh, did
He was born in Leeds but grew up in a council estate in Bridlington.
Oh, that's excellent.
And as we all know, Brid is the tits. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Should we leave it there?
Yeah, let's leave it there. I'm sorry, everyone. I've really, really struggled to recap these episodes and to just get my brain in gear for talking about them. I'm hoping that when we get to Boxing Day, maybe the amount of Christmas dinner I've had and all the chocolates will push me forward into the recording and bring me a little bit more excitement about talking about the show.
1 hour 45 worth of Stranger Things.
Is that the episode?
That's
the first episode when we come back on Boxing Day.
It's the first, second, and third episodes are all 1 hour 40 plus. Having said that, I've just been to see Avatar: Fire and Ash. Is it?
Yeah, that's right.
And
3 hours 17
feels an absolutely slim runtime by comparison. So
that's it. Yeah, you're all right. Well, we'll be back at some point with more episodes for Stranger Things Season 5.
Full of Christmas dinner and full of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.